Okay, so New York City got a taste of Ebola now, and it was just a matter of time before that was going to happen, because it got into Dallas, and it got into the other areas where they were talking about flights came in, and this has to do with healthcare workers, HCW, that were working in Africa. So this is the route they're going to use to bring in the disease and to push the idea that everyone has to be vaccinated to prevent this looming catastrophe. But what's interesting is that's the Trojan horse, because as soon as you start having that, you will have the outbreak. So they're lying, and it means that the real prevention is not to allow any vaccinations to happen. And they're also hyping up the fear by saying that there has to be quarantine. So that's this huge issue that is taking away people's rights. And if somebody has like a fever or they vomited, this happens very frequently. I mean, relative to things like breaking bones or the common cold. Actually, it's as common as the common cold. And you have the average person in the world once every 2 years having some kind of conditions like this. That's a symptom. So to say, well, when we see this, we got to have the quarantine happen because we're not sure if they have Ebola. And that's another way that they're going to implement coerced or mandatory vaccinations, because if you get quarantined, they need to give it to you because your rights are being taken away. So there was a story that just came out that some woman tells about her experiences under quarantine. So all this kind of hysteria is going on, and people are starting to ask questions and they want to get serious, and they're asking me what do I think about vaccinations and this and that. Well, number one thing to realize is I'll never do it. I'll never submit to that. I've been doing that stuff when I was a child, and it caused me to suffer and go through a lot of unnecessary hardship. And I was raised around the medical professionals. That's true. And that's how I learned what the reality is that they're just doing experimentation. They want to think that they're so knowledgeable and they're the experts, they're the educated. Well, you know what? I have news for them. Get educated themselves. They're not in reality. They practice quackery. And let me quote to you, I'm paraphrasing from Bones McCoy in Star Trek. How barbaric this age is. When he sees what kind of surgery or what kind of nonsense they do, he's saying from the future in this, imaginary sci-fi space age technology of medical science, that they are barbaric now. And I can say the same thing for different reasons, more accurate reasons, more realistic reasons. They are barbaric, and the vaccinations are not going to help. In fact, the vaccinations is what brings the epidemic. They're injecting people with the live virus that they have patented. That's how they're going to spread the disease. How do you think it's happening in West Africa? Because they can force it on these people who are naive, innocent in their villages, go in there, force them to get all this, and they say, ooh, like a few people got it. So it's like 1%, it's like several thousand people came down with this disease and died because they all got vaccinated. Check out the statistics, get your facts, and that's what's happening, folks. In New York, you need to wake up, because I'm sure you're not as stupid or behind the times as West Africa. I mean, isn't that the racism that's going on too? Wake up.